The Sopranos finale diner booth has sold on, I think it was eBay actually. Yeah, 4 days on eBay. So for those who don't know, spoilers for the series finale of The Sopranos. Uh, Patrick Klepek, I am a huge, David Chen, I'm a huge fan of Sopranos. I've seen the whole run multiple times. I actually think the finale's brilliant. You have not seen the whole show. You've seen a couple seasons, but you are familiar with what happens at the finale,
I
right?
am, yes.
So we're gonna spoil the finale of The Sopranos, but in the final scene of The Sopranos, Tony Soprano is having dinner with his family at Holston's uh, in New Jersey. Let me make sure I got this right. Yeah, Holston's, the Broomfield, New Jersey ice cream parlor, and he's having dinner with his family, and everything seems to be going okay. But like something's not quite right. There's suspicious figures lurking around. Maybe one of them wants to do him harm, and Journey's "Don't Stop Believing" plays in the background. And all of a sudden, when the singer sings the words "Don't Stop," the show cuts to black and roll credits, and that is how The Sopranos ends. It has fueled decades of speculation about what exactly that ending was supposed to mean. I would strongly suggest you read The Sopranos Sessions by Matt Zoller Seitz and Alan Sepinwall. They have analyzed this question to death, and I I am convinced that I have my own interpretation of the ending, and maybe we'll talk about that one day. But anyway, the booth that was there at the Holston's ice cream parlor was put on sale because the 88-year-old ice cream shop is being remodeled. And after 4 days on eBay, the bidding war closed at $82,600. I'm reading here from a Hollywood Reporter article, quote, "The winner doesn't just get the table and seats. For the hefty price, they receive the divider wall, which features a plaque that reads, 'This booth reserved for the Soprano family.' The tabletop jukebox used in the scene is unfortunately not included." Holston's owners also noted in a post on Instagram that they don't want to do this, but the integrity of the booths are now compromised. They have been repaired many times, and this furniture is over 60 years old. Obviously, we do not want to do this. However, it has come to the point where they are not structurally safe anymore as a whole, and we need to think of the safety of our patrons first. They also said, "We still have people coming in asking to sit in the Sopranos booth. We still get bus tours on Saturday and On Locations tour. Over the summer, you'll see people taking pictures outside and people taking pictures of the booth. It's not the frenzy it was when it happened 17 years ago, but it's still quite the popular attraction." Did I say the price already, Patrick Klepek? I may have, right?
Yes.
$82,600 is how much it sold for. Patrick Klepek, I wanted to use this opportunity just to talk about any memorabilia that we would have wanted to own or that we do own. And I'll bring up a couple examples from my own life. All right. First of all, Patrick Klepek, you and I get sent a lot of stuff for free because we are in the industry. Is that right? By the way, actually, I'm
Influencers.
assuming. I'm assuming
Capital
that.
So I used to get a lot of stuff sent for free, and I've now pummeled the PR people into submission to not send me a Leon Kennedy action figure from Resident Evil 4. Although they still did. He's right here.
Wow,
He's right
Patrick
here.
Klepek, for those who are watching the
still
video
here.
version of this, Patrick Klepek has just brandished the Leon Kennedy action figure.
It's a lot of well-meaning junk to like pre-order bonuses and stuff like that come with games. Like I just don't have the space for it. I don't really care about stuff like that. And so I've at this point turned it down so many times that the only stuff that I still get is, and most PR people now know that I've got kids. They're like, "Do you want, I know you don't want the stuff, but there's like a plushie." And I'm like, "Oh, you can send the plushie. The plushie can come and I'll send that to one of the kids."
Yeah. So I will tell you one of the most like intrusive one of these is there was a very short-lived show on HBO Max. It was called HBO Max at the time. That no longer exists. Called Raised by Wolves.
Yeah,
Did you ever see that show?
Love that first season.
And I got sent like the idea is that it's these androids that go onto this alien planet and they kind of they're trying to repopulate it basically. And essentially they stay in these, I want to say, inflatable sci-fi huts basically, right? Like there's this big orange hut that has all the. It's like broken off into sections. It's like an inflatable hut, and somebody at the HBO Max publicity department sent me a plastic model of one of those huts,
Okay.
and that had like other cool Raised by Wolves merch in it. And it's very flimsy, and it's kind of being ripped apart. And my wife has literally wanted me to throw it out since the day I received it years ago, and I still have it because the thing is, I'm like, oh, no one else has one of these.
Uh-huh.
Like this is a one of a, or not one of a kind, but probably only a few dozen or hundreds of these were made.
Right.
And even though it's a really piece of shit, crappy plastic Raised by Wolves hut for a show that no longer exists anymore, it's still a cool looking hut. And the thing, well, that's the other thing is like Raised by Wolves was canceled, and if it had become like a hit show, maybe it would be cool. Like if millions of people were still like in the
You could
fandom,
set that aside. 10 years
right.
from now, maybe somebody would want this piece of
Someone could want
memorabilia.
it. I could bond with people over it. Like I could have people over my house and point at the Raised by Wolves little hut, and and say, hey, you know, it's quite a thing, isn't it? And they would nod and say yes and think I was cool like that. But I can't have any of that anymore.
You have no other route to this. You put
I have no other route.
all the money on this Raised by Wolf promo item.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so that's an example of like a free movie or TV show memorabilia. Uh, Much more recently, Succession ended, and there was a massive auction. Do you remember that? There's a massive
Well,
auction
this happens for a lot of these shows. Yeah, like
yeah,
the
yeah.
I've perused through some of them and wondered, what if I had more money? And then I closed the tab.
Yeah, and I really wanted to buy stuff. Like I really seriously considered buying stuff. But it was just so expensive because
Yeah.
Succession is a show that attracts rich people. So for instance, looking at the New York Times story about this, for like there is Roderick or Dodrick in the first episode of Succession. Dodrick is the mascot for the Waystar Royco theme park, and cousin Greg gets in a Dodrick outfit and throws up through the eye holes of the outfit. Right. So that is it's basically a dog costume. It cost $7,800. It went for $7,800 at auction. One of the characters in the show carries a boxy Burberry bag to a party, and Tom Wamsgams refers to it as ludicrously capacious. That sold for $18,750. And there was a few items that were like a few $1,000s, but they were like so not like it'd be like, oh, here's a Tom's Wamsgams fake Waystar Royco badge card, right? That like he uses to badge into the office, and it's like, like kind of cool, but do I really want to spend $2,000 on a Succession badge? I couldn't do it, Patrick Klepek. I couldn't do it. I really wanted to, but anyway, basically, I have the heart of somebody who would buy a Sopranos booth for $82,000, but I don't have the bank account of that person. Patrick
Hmm.
Klepek, you ever bought any TV or movie memorabilia?
No, I stole one once though.
Wow, that's not surprising
So
at all.
uh, uh, years and years and years ago, when 24 was still in its heyday.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Now I got you interested.
yes, absolutely.
They
Now you have my
made
attention.
24 the video game for the PlayStation 2, probably on
Oh,
Xbox as well.
oh my god.
And at the time, I was a soft junior in college, and there was an old video show called The One Up Show. It was a very pioneering video podcast. These days,
Yes.
if you watching people sitting around in front of a camera talking about video games, like a lot of that goes back to this show called The One Up Show from a couple of decades back.
Hugely influential to me. It is very possible to say that I might have never gone into podcasting if it wasn't for the One Up Show or the accompanying audio podcast One Up Yours. So I need to pay homage. Like David Chen might never have become a podcaster were it not for what Patrick Klepek's talking about right now. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
And I was in that orbit. Those people were my friends, early colleagues on the internet, and they called me and were like, "Hey, you like 24, right?" And I was like, "Do you want to go to LA, go interview the cast?" And like for us ostensibly around this game? It's like, yeah, sure. That sounds like a great time. So I went out. I turned 21 that weekend, and crucially, I had just no, I hadn't started because it happened that weekend. So I was coming there for my 21st birthday, and who is now my wife, the mother of my 2 children. We hadn't started dating yet, but I knew she was a massive, massive Kiefer Sutherland fan, and I always had a crush on her, but she was sort of off limits. That's a whole nother. We can have another podcast about this. But
Absolutely, and we will.
uh, I was I'd done the interviews, met Kiefer Sutherland, met Elisha Cuthbert, did all that, and then the next day was you get to go to the set and talk to a bunch of the directors of the show, producers, writers, and then we just got to be in CTU, like in the set that they were using to film whatever season was at the time. And there was
For those who don't know, CTU stands for Counterterrorism Unit, a fictional government organization. Anyway, yep, good.
And there was downtime where they're like, "Hey, you can just walk around," and the rule was, "Don't be an asshole." And so, like, I got to go into President Logan's like presidential room, sit in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "You can touch the desks, like you can just be cool." And so I was being cool, and I was walking around, and then I thought to myself, like, "Wow." Well, she wasn't my wife, and that's how I think of her in my head now. My wife would really like enjoy. Like, I was like, what could I take from the
Oh
set of
my god!
24
Oh my god!
that would be completely innocuous? Because I didn't want to be an asshole, but I wanted to take something from the set. And
I think those are really incompatible viewpoints. By the way, I just want to put that out there.
statute
But
of
okay.
limitations is up. I did not sign anything. They were just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, come at me, 20th Century Fox. I mean, Disney, figure it out. And I'm sitting in Kiefer Sutherland's Jack Bauer's desk, and looking around, like touching things, taking some pictures, and I happened to move something aside, and it was just a little holder of paper clips. And there's tons of paper clips in here, like 30, 40, 50 paper clips. Who would miss a paper clip? David Chen. Who would miss? I mean, maybe a continuity editor, but I'm keeping them on their toes, David. I'm keeping them on their toes. And so
Okay, that's not that. If you had said a pen, I would actually. I think like once it reaches level of pen, I would say that's not cool.
Yeah, I looked at a pen, but there was only a couple, and it's like these could be distinctive or used.
Yes.
Paperclip.
Okay,
so
I think that's probably okay, unless there's like a close up shot of like the desk, and then the set dresser is going to be like, "Whoa, I had 18 paper clips exactly. Who took one of them?"
Jack Bauer is supposed to use his paperclip against one of the terrorists when they broke into CTU for the 7th time.
You're the reason why the nuke goes off, Patrick Klepek.
So
I want to say season 3. Is that right?
I think that is right. So I took 2. I took 1 for a good buddy of mine. I took
you took
1.
2 paper clips.
I did take 2 paper clips.
Wow,
and then,
1 was okay, but 2, I don't know. Yeah.
And I took the other, and my wife actually like made it into a necklace and like hung it around her neck for a while when we first started dating, and she still has it
nice.
Upstairs.
It's nice
somewhere.
that your love is based off of theft.
I think that's
very
based,
sweet.
That's called passion. David, like I mean, I am the beholder.
Here's my big takeaway: is don't invite Patrick Klepek somewhere and ask him to not be an asshole. That's kind of where.
Oh, come on.
That's where I'm coming down on this one. That's what
the other thing I have does not involve. I don't know. Does not involve theft. Unless taking beach sand.
It involves wire fraud and an $82,000 payment for a Sopranos booth on eBay.
Lost is probably my all-time favorite show, maybe only eclipsed by like The Leftovers in recent years. And somebody went to one of the main beaches, like the central beach you see like in the pilot. Like it is a beach in Oahu that you can go visit. Around the time when they were wrapping up filming that show, somebody went there and like scooped up some of the sand, like that was from this same era that they were shooting the show, put it in a little capsule and like packaged it up and shipped it to me and said like, hey, like I'm a resident out here. I went over there after they were wrapping up shooting and like took some of the sand because I know how much the show means to you. And that one I still have like up on a shelf in a prominent spot because that show also means a lot to me. So
That's nice. That's nice. But what I'm hearing is you wouldn't pay for any of this shit. Is kind
I
of
wanted to, but like when they sold the Lost stuff, I was in my 20s and like going like month to month on paying rent in Los Angeles, making peanuts for video game websites. And so did I have $16,000 to pay for the Swan Hatch? No. Do I have that now? Yes, but I'm not allowed to spend it. So that goes to a college fund instead for my children.
I imagine it must be nice to be rich enough to buy this stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be rich enough where I could be like, yes, I'm gonna spend $3,000 on Kendall Roy's nail clippers. That would be real sweet. But then I try to play out what the next step of that would be, and I have difficulty. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do after that? You put it in a display case in your voluminous living room,
And
like,
you got to
and
explain it to
and then you
people?
invite people over, and then you like, what is? I guess rich people just like having things. Like they don't even need to
Yes.
display it, right? They just like the fact that I have it hidden in the closet somewhere on a shelf. That's good enough. But for me, I'm like, there's no point to owning it. Basically, I feel like there's no point to owning it unless you can talk about it or show it off somehow.
I agree.
And then it's like, um, then you feel like a tool in that situation, right? Like
Yes.
for showing off, or you'd need like so many items that it would become a museum. And anyway, I can't, I can't get myself there, man. I can't get myself there.
No,
That's
me
man,
either.
what I'm saying is, I literally can't even dream of a scenario where I would own this stuff because, yeah. So anyway, uh,
If only
some
they'd made a PlayStation 2 Succession video game, David, then I could have just gone to that set and helped you out.
yeah, you're like, here's a Roman Roy's jockstrap. No one's gonna miss this.
There were two of them, David. There was a whole pile.
Hey everyone, David Chen here. Thank you so much for watching that video from Decoding TV. If you want to get an audio version of the show, all you got to do is go to podcast.decodingtv.com. And if you want to support what we do, get ad-free episodes of the podcast and also bonus episodes of the podcast, go to decodingtv.com and become a paid member. Of course, you can also like and subscribe for more. We appreciate it. Thanks. See you later.